Three bodybuilders kidnap Victor, a wealthy but cheating businessman.
We're being kept down by people who cheated to get where they are. I got a plan to change that.
After taking all his money, they start to lead the good life.
The Sun Gym Gang has successfully acquired every asset you had.
What happens now?
Now I go to work.
But Victor is bent on getting revenge against them all in Pain and Gain.
Hi, I'm Sean.
I'm Aaron.
And I'm Liz. We've gathered here to review the newest film from Mark, Monk, and The Rock, Pain and Gain. We've all just seen it. John, why don't you start us off?
So this is Michael Bay's first non-Transformers film since The Island back in 2005. And this has less explosions than Transformers 3. It has a much smaller budget than Transformers 3. So people are excited about this because they think Michael Bay might be doing something unique and interesting and different. Even if he is doing something unique, interesting, and different, it still comes out to be just truly awful.
There's no motivation for the actions of these characters, and I think that's what's so frustrating, the fact that it's missing from the script.
No, the character motivations aren't crazy in-depth, but Anthony Mackie's character, he uses steroids, he is suffering from issues in the below department, and he needs the money to kind of fix his equipment.
Are you currently using steroids?
No, ma'am.
When's the last time you injected?
Monday.
Yesterday. Okay.
I threw them all out. I think they messed me up.
It's okay. You probably just have defeated fella syndrome. We treat it here all the time.
The real-life event of Daniel Lugo has a motivation for him to proceed with these criminal activities. I mean, basically, Daniel Lugo had to pay restitution to a bunch of victims of a previous crime that he had. And so it's like, okay, that's interesting.
There's more motivating factors in the true story. Yeah, you don't get enough of that. But for the story that I've read, compared to this movie, I think it's impressive that the screenwriters are able to make a movie out of it, because there's some really ridiculous things that happened in real life, and somehow it fits into the confines of a narrative. I'm not saying it's a perfect narrative, it's very messy, and Bay's style really makes that show, but I was strangely compelled by how this movie played out.
I didn't see the point. I don't know what Michael Bay's doing. I mean, maybe the screenwriters here, we've got Christopher Markus and Stephen McFeely, who have written the Captain America films, and Thor: The Dark World, and Chronicles of Narnia pictures. Maybe they're trying to say something, maybe there's a commentary, maybe there's some kind of satirical element to the dark comedy, but if it's there in the script, it's all thrown out when it comes on screen. I mean, the actions of these characters are sadistic, they torture people, they kidnap people, they murder people, they attempt to murder people.
It's a dark action
comedy. It's a very
comedy.
Dark action comedy. Michael Bay has a very big problem with his style overweighs some of the comic elements. I think there is an inherent amount of comedy in this movie that could be played better were a different director maybe to have handled it. But I don't think it's completely devoid of humor. I do think that Michael Bay has a tendency to insert his brand of comedy, like, I don't know, the entire character of Ken Jeong, just because he thinks that's something that's funny. But I do think that there are things about this story that are actually funny and that work because they actually happen, and clearly he wanted to put that on the screen just because it's such an outrageous story.
Well, the problem is that he shortchanged character development in the voiceover. You learn more about these characters in voiceover than you do through dialogue or their actions, and that's just a cheat. And then the other part is that I think it's the technical elements. He should have directed the editing to reinforce the comic elements of the script, and then therefore it would have been a great mix of darkness and comedy and awkwardness, and I think the tone would have worked, but the tone didn't succeed because he didn't emphasize the comedy in the cut.
No, see, I think the tone is such that he doesn't understand that this story has dark elements. I think
you just think he thinks it's just hilarious.
I just think he thinks these people are so dumb. This is so funny to show these three really stupid people on screen doing stupid things.
Well, there's a sadistic feeling to the film.
But I still think Michael Bay plays it as if it's funny all the way through.
Where'd he go? You see him?
Where the hell is he?
There he is!
You got the wrong BMW?
It's two exact BMWs.
I told you to check the license plate.
It was an honest mistake.
So we thought it was the same car. It looked exactly the same.
Michael Bay does know how to get great casts in his movies. He has Mark Wahlberg, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Tony Shalhoub, Ed Harris, Anthony Mackie. He secured a lot of very talented people for this film.
If you're going to see this movie, it's for Dwayne Johnson. He manages to push past the poor editing and the bad script and the ridiculous storyline into something that I think is watchable.
Never again will an oppressor overrun my people, but now I am keeping watch.
That's the gospel.
And people say Christian rock sucks.
The Mark Wahlberg character fails on so many levels for me because he's completely unsympathetic, and that's the writing and the performance. There's a scene early on in the film when we're supposed to feel sorry for him because he asks out a beautiful woman, and she rejects him, and we're supposed to be, oh, I feel sorry for Mark Wahlberg, oh, what a hard life he leads. But Mark Wahlberg doesn't play that earnestness, he doesn't play that everyman quality that we know him for.
These actors are all fine. They're just not playing anybody I want to see them play.
I'm gonna go ahead and blame who I want to blame, which is Michael Bay, because I think he represents a lot of things that I don't appreciate about cinema. And I think that he chose to focus on the wrong elements in this script, and that's what made it the problem that it is.
Pain and Gain's dark humor and glossiness may overwhelm some despite its leads and compelling story. I say stream it.
Pain and Gain lives up to half of its title. Skip it.
Michael Bay has an abundance of resources at his fingertips, and yet still this film fails on so many levels. It definitely has an audience, but it's not me. Skip it.
Our votes add up to a half ticket, which is a skip it for Pain and Gain.
Cheers.
I've been at the gym lately, by the way. I'm getting ripped.
Uh-oh.
You know how Tony Shalhoub played Monk? He was germophobic in that show. I felt like I didn't want to touch this movie. I really don't have one. That's pretty good. That was good.